Hello and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast brought to you by the Adventure Archive. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Throb Harding. My
That's
himbo
amazing.
name.
That's a himbo name. And today we're going to be going over Himbos of Myth and Metal by Max Lander. It's one of those things. It's Max Lander. So, wonderful, fantastic game. We just had a wonderful discussion with Max on our previous episode. So if you're listening to this, make sure you go back and check that one out. So love this fucking game.
Yeah, super stoked to talk about this one. I like it is very funny because we oscillate so hard between like games that are like brutal and like just you getting annihilated in the very dark setting to like, yeah, you're fucking beautiful buff himbos that you're not gonna die.
Yeah, but I mean, I love that the variety of games out there by the variety of creators out there are absolutely fantastic, and this is such a perfect example of a fun, well done game where you can be like a little bit goofy and like have just a really good time with it.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, I'm stoked to go with this one.
And like I mean, we're both so we're both a little edgelordy, but obviously I'm far more than you. So I like the brutal death blood games. Obviously, like Slipgate Choke Point was so amazing. I'm sad you missed that one. You still need to read it. But Kirby, thank you so much from Kirby from Disaster Tourism for coming on and reading that. Yeah, Kirby is the shit. But to go from Slipgate Choke Point to Himbos of Myth and Metal, if you're listening to this in a row, you're going to get a bit of a whiplash on that, but in a good way, in a really, really fun way. So I don't think we're doing anything else. I don't have anything to spotlight. Do you want to just hop into the...
No, I don't think I have anything.
I feel like there might be things, but I'm not prepared, so I'm not going to worry about it anyway.
There's got to be some, whatever. We're going to get
maybe next week.
Midnight tonight, I'm going to sit up in bed and be like, oh, God.
Yeah, there was this one. We're solid on that. So let's hop right into fucking Himbos of Myth and Metal.
I think the most important thing is like right when we hop in, like, after the front page,
I agree.
It's hyperlinked. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And not only that, it's got bookmarks, but we will get to that in just a moment. First of all, this is we just stopped in. If you're listening in podcast world, definitely check out the cover art for this. I absolutely love the art style for this. I love the font choice for this. I love that.
I'm just now realizing us talking about the cover art and the font was before the interview started, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking so dumb.
Yeah. Listen, our resident himbo here. But looking at the book itself, I love the textures that they put around the cover. I love the texture on it. As in like the page, the colors and everything has like the parchmenty paper feel of the paper texture to it. And I love the way that was put onto the cover. I really enjoy this when covers have this like beat up but not beat up aspect to it. Yeah. Like it looks beat up, but my book can still stay pristine. I really, really enjoy that. And the cover art itself is really, really beautiful and fantastic. These two himbo characters, one, well, I guess both technically shirtless, skeletons coming up behind, like it's a whole situation that's really, really fantastic. And I really love the font choice in it. But as you said, going in on top of that too, can we just talk about the color purple that was used throughout this as well?
Oh yeah, super good accent color, like that very good minimal that we love. Actually, this whole book is like it reminds me of, like, obviously it's supposed to be like a classic RPG, but it reminds me of picking up like an older like D&D 3 or before book and being like, oh yeah, like look how like the color palette, it's like very minimal. Except this doesn't have terrible art in it like those old D&D books do. This has good art.
Does right on the first page here too, we got created by Maxwell Lander. Huge Boar Games, edited by Aaron motherfucking King, art by Mary Verhoeven, and all the the links to that. They should link, but they don't. But then we get to the index, which is hyperlinked. Gotta love that.
Love it.
Really fantastic. Necessary, I feel, in 2023. And it's really nice to see it. And again, as I said, look at this. We open this shit up. I click on this little thing here, and there are bookmarks all the way through. Really fantastic. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Here on the Weekly Scroll podcast, I'm making a list of all the games that have hyperlinked their shit now because I won't shut the fuck up about it. You are welcome, ttrpg #family. So this is playing Himbos and Myth and Mettle. So let's also talk about the layout. The purple is beautiful throughout, but the simplicity, one thing that struck me, and then we'll bounce back to something else, is one of the things we talk about in the game reviews are the art and style. And a lot of times it's like, one thing that I remember bringing up a lot is blank space on the bottom that could be filled with art or something like that, right?
Right.
I feel like this is the opposite of that. And this is how you can have like big empty spaces on your page and have it look right. It reminds me of the Into the Odd layout a little bit, where there is a lot of empty space,
right?
But it
it's
looks
like very
good.
It's very like center justified everything. Like it feels good. It's like breathing room, It's so incredibly readable. And which is almost the other thing that we said about Into the Odd too. It's just like I don't know. I'm not dumb, but when there's so many words on the page, my little ADHD brain is like, that's a lot of stuff, man. You're not gonna read straight, right? You're gonna skip around, right? So when it's like chunked out on the page, I'm like, perfect. I love this.
And that's exactly it is. It's not 2 columns of size 10, black and white, like just stuff. It's and I understand, like, to a point, like if you make a 300-page game, you need the space.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do that. And another reason we like light games. But as Hunter said, if we switch to like page 4, for example, right, there's 3 paragraphs for the most part on this page. They're not centered. They're on the left. They're not centered in the page. It's a little bit down to the left. It is a perfect use of space for the layout in this to feel, as you said, super readable. And the other thing too is, as I said, the parchment background. White on black is the most it is the most readable. It is scientifically the most readable fucking thing, right? But staring at black font on a white page, I feel like it's burning my fucking eyes out. You know what I mean? Especially on a screen.
Yeah, there is like this parchment off white. I'm like, oh, this is very readable. Yeah.
It's so nice on the eyes. Like, it looks nice. The font is like one of my favorite fonts ever. It's a nice serif
I think
font.
you specifically said that also before we even started the interview.
It's like Imfell. I don't know.
Is that what it is?
capital M fell. Like, I write almost exclusively in Cambria or Imfell. I can't tell you how much I hate Arial. Times New Roman I'm also a fan of.
I'm a Times New Roman guy. So.
I love Times New Roman. I love a nice serif. I don't want to read. I don't want to read in a non-serif font. I just really don't enjoy doing it. The only thing I hate more than Arial is Calibri. Windows, stop defaulting to Calibri. Seriously. Anyway.
So this game.
Anyway.
So this is a game. All the way.
Listen, layout is an important part of the game. So we're talking about.
I understand that conversation started about layout.
Yeah. And then turn into fuck Arial.
So what is a himbo?
What is a himbo to you?
What is a himbo to me? I don't know. I really love the term himbo, and I always, aspire to himboism. The simple, smiley, good-hearted, big guy. It's hard. I'm only like
to be big. Yeah,
I'm only 5'7", so I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, you are big arms, big tits, big thighs. Big bird. You're big where it matters. In addition to a heaving, throbbing body glistening lightly with a thin sheen of pleasantly fragrant perspirant, you have one singular unifying trait. Come hell or high water, you're going to help. And the Himbos of Myth Mettle is a high fantasy, high camp role-playing game of epic bodily proportions for 2 to 5 players, one of whom will be the game guide. To play, you're going to need the stuff that you need to play.
A game.
Below this, it says that the word himbo is a gender-neutral term. Its counterparts are bimbo and thembo. You're encouraged to take whatever title feels right or nice for the character that you're playing. I like. I don't know. I feel like bimbo himbo is a previously when I was a child, if you called somebody a bimbo, it was an insult. But now you just mean like a really hot, pleasant person. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome. I don't think that I'm dumb, but I am very straightforward. I do see most problems as nails, and I am a hammer. So I very much vibe with the himboism. If you watch any of our actual plays where I'm a character, except maybe inside, that's the first time I've been a little more subtle. But I'm the guy who's like, just blow it up. We'll just go straight through the door.
Literally, our first creator cut with Micah, there was a whole fucking dungeon to do. We got through 2 rooms. You're like, oh, just drop a bomb by the nuclear core or whatever. We win, and it's just like, okay, good. All right, well, I guess we solved that problem. So,
hey, listen, Micah was done anyway, man. He was like, that's cool. I had to get off anyway.
It works. We do what we need to do.
But yeah, so I think also I like the high camp thing. I think there is a natural inclination at your table to be goofy, even dark settings and stuff. There is a kind of especially in Merkborg or whatever, you have this kind of gonzo thing. But I think giving characters straight hey, this is a campy game, be corny, be campy, be over the top, and be good. I think it's a great way to set up a game. I feel like my table, the goofball bastard table I run, would take this and be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, absolutely, they would run with this.
Yeah. And I do and I think there is a difference between camp and gonzo, but I do think that there is a difference. But they're in the same realm of play. I would call them different play styles, but they're similar. It's more the context of what they're in for. And I love both. I also want to play a game that's super serious and super edgy and super fucked or whatever, but not all the time. And like you said, it's really hard to keep that going all the time because at some point you're gonna sit and take.
I'm realizing as we get deeper into TTRPGs, both you and I, and just me and my own practice, I really like playing those super hardcore games. But I love running the very jovial, over the top goofball shit,
Yep, absolutely. I feel like I had something I was going to say and I totally forgot, so I'm just not going to worry about it.
Sorry, I can't jump in.
Oh no, you're good. Nope, it's gone. But I completely agree with you. It's fun to run those. What's really nice about here on the Adventure Archive is I used to GM a ton. I haven't in a long time. I'm going to start it up again. But we have Jason, who runs a lot of great games, and we've got to play a lot of fantastic games. He's running Merkborg, he's running our Cyborg, stuff like that. So it's nice to be a player when I was a forever GM for a really long time. And that was my point. So as a GM, no matter how serious you make something, at some point, you can take 10 minutes to pick an NPC name. Right, and craft it so there's nothing that anyone could say about it, and there's still
no
going to turn it into a dick
joke.
They're going to turn it into a dick joke. So it's nice to embrace the gonzo, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of people really loved about Merkborg when it first came out, is that it is a dark, dying world, but there is that gonzo aspect of it that keeps it from being completely one note, and that people can be weird and get gonzo with it and have a good time, and being goofy at the table doesn't feel wrong. You're just goofy in a dark way. And I feel like this is kind of the opposite. You're just in this, you embrace that kind of goofiness in a fun, lighthearted, like you said, helpful way. I just feel like these characters are just big, empathetic, I think the defining thing the entire time is just that line here that says you're hot, but come hell or high water, you're going to help. And I love that idea of just
it's 1990s daytime adventure TV. You know what I mean? I think that's
it's great.
I think it's one of those shows where Beastmaster and stuff like that. But yeah.
Oh yeah. So Himbos
I was there when the old magic was written,
Yeah. Himbos are super hot, super dumb, well-meaning, earnest, honest, and selfless, always available to help, even if they do not understand the problem, good-looking in all lighting conditions, understanding in the way that they listen and care, not in the way that they understand, and mega hot. They rarely embody traits such as selfishness, greed, pride, cruelty, malice, harmful, skinny-legged. The verdict is still out on lust, though they're almost always the object of it. But yeah, and that is this game. There's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of like really, really good write up to the beginning of it to make sure that everyone understands the core. Not too much, but it's really great.
Yeah, you know where you're going with this. You know what your character's supposed to be. You know like what a himbo is. And I like this next part where it kind of like Max kind of like acknowledges like previously like himbos are like side characters, sidekicks. This is like, no, you're the hero this time, my fellow himbo.
Well, and then as we go through, like there's a part where it literally says like one of the like the worst things for himbos are heroes, because you know if you do too much stuff and get too many scars, you basically become a hero because you've got too like you just get bad vibes. You're just full of bad vibes and you become a hero, or they're the danger, you know, always getting you into it. So it's really great. This game exists to create a space where the ticket to center stage is being helpful, kind, unreasonably good looking, and in possession of a brain resembling the exterior of a hard-boiled egg. So you're soft-brained. You're
nice
smooth brain.
Smooth.
Yeah, it's nice.
No wrinkles in this brain.
Yeah, it's great. And again, the players craft well-meaning and potentially well-endowed characters of might, magic, and legend. So it really enforces over and over in the beginning: you're big, you're dumb, you're fun, and you're good. And that is what you do. So it's really fantastic. And again, I love the empty space all throughout this book. Like it's so fucking readable. Like, and it's enjoyable to read in the way that like every time it's a new point, it's a new page. And it's my ADHD brain, it was so easy to read this book, you know? And the quote I love: the spell that I would like to cast is Cuisinart, says Clay, just Clay.
Yeah, just Clay.
Fantastic. So, and again, the purple on this. And so going back to the book real quick, first of all, the book is fantastic. As I said, it's got like the kind of texturedness to it. But one of the things, so the thing we talked about a lot in layout is hyperlinks and bookmarks. It's navigation for the book. The thing that we can't really ding, but is always a nice little plus in physical books is a nice ribbon. Guess what this book's got? It's a nice, beautiful purple ribbon. The same color purple that's throughout. This is a beautiful color.
We love a good ribbon.
Oh, the ribbon is so nice. So that's a nice little layout, you know, bonus that you get from the physical book as well. Highly recommend grabbing the physical book. It's really nice. But yeah, this is playing Himbos. And I think this art here is the art on your background, right? We got some himbo action.
It is.
Yeah. So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. Himbos shares a structure with many RPGs, right? So there's the guide, which is your game runner, referee, not the one that is everyone knows, the other ones. Then you have the players, who are your PCs. They describe their characters. So like, I'll actually read it up. The guide describes the world, the people in it, sensory elements of the player's surroundings, and the actions, reactions of other people. The players describe their own characters, their own reactions, their own thoughts and feelings. Sometimes these conversations will be had in character with the guide, acting as NPCs, and sometimes they'll just be purely descriptive. Often, the play style of your table will determine how in character these games are. You can easily add visual tools like maps and illustrations to enhance these conversations, but it's not necessary. Love that. Nice, simple. We love a simple thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have our takes on what is an RPG. I feel like if you're going to do it, this is the way to do it. Quick, one page, move on, and then, you know, 2 pages. But yeah, 2 to 4 hour sessions. You know, you got mechanics, you got stuff to do. Take breaks. You know, listen to your table, and that's it. So getting into the mechanics of the game. This game, first of all, is super light. We've talked about this numerous times. This is about the number of rules that's really enjoyable in a game where you can have enough rules to guide you, but not hold you down. You know, they get out of their own way, which is fantastic. And this is a D20 roll under, which is your favorite.
I do love a good roll under. This is a very I like Troika-esque roll under, right? You add a bunch of things together, and that's what you roll under. You have your stat, your gear, your skill, and you roll under that. Love that. Nice and simple.
Yeah, super easy. And that's the thing that's really great about like target numbers and things like that in a roll under system. Or Slipgate Chokepoint actually did a really good roll over system that used similar target numbers, which was nice to see. But the great thing about D20 roll under is there's no derived stats. Like when you roll up like 3d6 to give you a number that gives you a different number that you then have to do, and then you have to roll a number that is arbitrarily decided in a rough structure by a GM on the, you have to get over a 15, but I got a 14. Okay, you fail. That's not compelling. That's not fun. It's not enjoyable. And for multiple ways, this game makes those kind of things great. D20 roll under fixes that problem because you roll your stat and then you just roll under that stat. So your target number is always for you without having to derive a bunch of stuff for it. So it's really nice. Nice and clean. Obstacles could be combat based, social, skill based, all of those kind of things. But it all comes down to the same things. But you roll when having an uncertain outcome would add fun, drama, or enjoyment. And generally the guide does not roll. Instead, they describe how NPCs act, what's happening in the environment, and the players roll to respond, act, or react.
That's up here for me, baby. Let me tell you, I know how to roll any dice when I run this. Hell yeah.
Again, the other great thing about having games where the GMs don't generally roll a lot of the times is it makes it feel less confrontational. Which is really nice. The onus is on the players. Like I'm just describing the things that happen. So yeah. And that's one thing I love about 2d6.
You got hit in the face. That's your fault.
Exactly. Right. That's one thing I love about the 2d6 or any system where the player roll gives GM rolls is that literally the thing that's happening to you is a consequence of the roll that you made entirely. Like I'm not having to specifically attack back or do anything like that. It's all based on the repercussions of your actions. So there's a couple of optional rules for rolling. Advantage and disadvantage is exactly what it always is. If you've ever played an RPG, you just roll 2 of the thing and take the higher or the lower. The dice chain thing, though. So I'm going to read this. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So the dice chain. If advantage and disadvantage is too big a shift. So we know about this too. With D20, advantage and disadvantage is roughly 5 points mathematically over time. Consider having players roll dice other than the D20. To make a roll easier, use a die with fewer sides, i.e. from a D20 to a D12. To make a roll harder, roll multiple dice at once and add the results together. For example, add a D4 or a larger die to a typical D20 roll. This requires some probability calculation on the fly for the guide, but sometimes it's fun to throw a handful of weirdly shaped plastic, While I agree, I would not do this.
No, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it by any stretch of imagination, but I feel like I like how uncomplicated the roll under system is, and I feel like this just is for those people that maybe do want to add like a little bit more crunch or complication to it. I'm also bad at math. I don't want to worry about probabilities or anything like that. So it's cool that it's here. I think it definitely has its place, but I would just play as is. So Max says this exists solely so that they can use their DCC dice for another game. There we go. Perfect reason to have something in there.
Amazing.
Then we get to the window of error. What did you think when you first read this?
I was hoping that you were going to read this so we could go back over it.
I will. So the window of error. Himbos is not a strict pass-fail system. There is a small window for each stat that, should a roll fall within, results in something more complicated than success or failure. This is called the window of error, or I guess you could say whoa. In a roll, if a roll would fail equal to or over target, but is within the whoa range of the applicable stat, the roll instead succeeds, but with a complication. Woes are calculated relative to stat score, with higher scores having a larger woe. Woes are calculated for the base stat only. Calculations should not include bonuses from gears or skills. So stat score versus window of error. On a 1 to 4, the window is 1. On a 5 to 8, the window is 2. On a 9 to 12, the window is 3. On a 13 to 16, 4. 17 to 25. For example, a stat of 5 would generate a woe on a roll of 5 or 6. On a stat of 16 would be in the woe on rolls of 16 through 19. So I read it. What are your thoughts?
I understand the concept, but wouldn't mind a couple more working examples.
I love this so much.
Yes. I do really like, so I do like there's like, oh yeah, like there's a window of numbers where it's like you hit here and things are just going to go way off the rails.
Yeah, Christian just said it reads more complicated than it is. I don't think it does, but I think that's because this is the style of game I like to play. And so we all know you're D20 roller, I'm 2D6. If you listen to the podcast, that's how it fucking works. So complications on rolls and not fail states, but like yes ands, yes buts kind of things are where 2D6 really lives, And I love this idea because we've talked about it over and over and over again, where you say, like don't gatekeep things that the players need, right? So like if you need the players to have information, have them roll a roll, right? But you roll a 15 or your DC is set at 15, the players roll a 14. Well, they don't have the information. What this I feel allows you to do is give that information, but maybe not all of it, Like I think that there is literally the next page is an entire page of examples. So going over that, if you're a player coming from a traditional gaming background or totally new to the hobby, graduated successes might feel tricky to wrap your mind around. To help, here are some examples. So what is the one that I really liked? So when rolling on the woe while searching for information, a character might receive a mix of truth and fabrications, or they might get specific details about where the information could be found, but not the information itself. So I love it. I love complications as a playstyle, and a D20 roll under with a window for complications is such a good fucking game. I really love that. And I really love that it's in Himbos of Myth and Mettle. Like, this is how I would love to run D20 games, really. Like, this is exactly what I would do. So a couple other examples for those is an attack roll on the woe often involves a character who made the roll taking some damage. Maybe their opponent struck back at them, an environmental hazard was activated, or they even injured themselves. Another one, cooking dangerous unknown food could be safe to eat when cooked in the woe, but the taste might not be so vile. So I really love this. Is this something that you would throw into your D20 system, or would you
writing it down. So yes, obviously. I'm like, okay, reference Himbos. D20
page 11 I love it. Again, the reason I love 2d6 is for this exact thing. So to create like what really is like, maybe it does read a little bit more complicated, but is a really easy way to do it. Is a great way to have this like expanding window of potential complications that could just make things more interesting. I feel like the thing I love most about complications is that it drives the story forward. You never get to a point where you just go, you fail, and everyone just goes, okay, now what? Like, this allows for that forward momentum in a game that's really, really
it's good
enjoyable.
To bake that in. I think at this point I've gotten in the habit of being like, okay, well, you failed that, so here's what's happening now. But I think like somebody coming from like the Dragon game, or like they're trying to just enter the space, like having it baked in is like, oh yeah, no, failure doesn't stop things. Failure moves things. And just maybe not in the direction you were planning on moving things. So there is still a fail state, which D20 systems really like. I mean, all systems do. Even 2D6 has 6 you just fail. But I really enjoy the window. And the cool thing too is like you could always expand that window for easier games, or narrow that window for harder games too. So depending on how you want to do it. So I really love that. And like you said, I love that it's really baked in. So damage is also, so this is a really interesting, different game. Like, this is not a dragon game or like an OSR dragon game clone or something like that. Like, the mechanics are very different. And I would
I would, even if I wasn't gonna play it as Himbos, I would run like any setting, like using this as like a D20 system. So damage is different too. So all damage rolls default to 1d6, which is subtracted from a character's heart, which we'll get to. And this includes damage dealt by Himbos and damage dealt to Himbos. Certain abilities might call for more or different dice, such as a special ability of a big hitter. If something is particularly damaging, guides can add another d6 or move up the dice chain, going back to the dice chain situation. So d6, d8, d10, d20, but avoid adding bonuses and unnecessary math to the process. A dragon's fire breath might seem to call for many large dice, but remember that the character's maximum heart is 20, so everything is already dangerous. d8 or d10 damage is probably enough to make the players think twice about tangling the source of that damage. I feel like this is such an easy, good way to simplify a lot of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like the kind of static nature of like, it's 20 HP, you know, you're like counting on a die. It's like, well, perfect. And like, it's easy to throttle down damage or like consistently. You don't need to throttle much higher. I think this like takes a lot of like, oh God, there's so much thought that goes into so many other games that you play as a game master. This is like, no, don't worry about that. You can be a himbo game master as you play this, honestly.
That's exactly what popped into my head. I'm like, you don't need to be a fucking genius. Like, it's literally laid out in such an easy way. Yeah, it's really enjoyable. Like, it's really clean. It's just really like if you're a player that loves rolling dice and throwing a fat fucking bag of dice, you know, this rule set might not particularly be for you, but I love rolling as few dice as possible to get to where I need
I'm
to
trying
go.
to play the game, you know, like listen, I know that we all love our shiny math rocks, our fancy pieces of plastic.
Our clickety clacks,
really, our little click clacks. That's really cool, but like I'm trying to collectively tell a story with my drunk buddies at a table. So
that's the other thing is you can have a couple with this and not really worry about it. So it's fantastic. So and now we're getting to game time in focus. Sometimes event require perceptive slowing of time, tense action-packed moments like combat, sure, but also important conversations, delicate and fiddly tasks, or the preparation of an intricate meal. We call these moments in focus. When the game is in focus, time is slowed, actions are deliberate and ordered, and resolution is measured moment to moment. To determine the order of actions when in focus, everyone rolls breast. Yep, because that's stat. It's breast. Those who succeed go before the guide, and those who fail go after. This is another really smart way to bake in initiative, not only for combat but for the game.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I don't know. Like, I remember, and we talked about this before, I remember reading this game and being like, this is really fucking good. And then hitting you up and be like, how do you feel about Himbos? And you're like, oh, fuck yeah, we need to do that one. Yeah. And this is the reasons why. Like, it's just so well done and well thought out with a really good
for a game that's about being beautiful and dumb. It sure is a smart game. You know, it sure is an intelligently made game. Yeah, I really do enjoy the in focus moments. I think that's a really cool way to like set up. I mean, like a lot of maybe potentially very cinematic moments, you know, or like, it's cool. It's very cool.
It's cool. It's cool, guys. Feats of heart. So Himbos can use their heart to accomplish seemingly or literally supernatural effects. To do so, determine the cost of your effect by answering the questions below. Roll under your current heart to see if the effects go off as planned. If the rolls fail, roll on the weird effects, magical, and mundane table. Regardless of success or failure, subtract the cost from your heart after the roll. The flavor and style of a Himbo's prowess of heart can be described by the players as they wish. Acts of sheer willpower, supernatural spells, dumb big luck. There you go. So, cost calculator. For each question you answer yes to, increase the effect's cost by 1. And I like this. I like lists like this. You know, various games use things like this for various things. A lot of them will use lists like this for like XP at the end of sessions. I like the use of this for cost, doing big fun things. So does the effect target more than one person? More than 5? Is the effect intended to harm? Does the effect involve a space larger than 5 feet? Does it displace more than 20 pounds? Does the effect involve healing? Are you calling or crafting an element that is not already present? And like every answer to that, you increase the difficulty of the thing. So like a godlike thing where you're literally healing the entire room by calling down like a 30-foot ball of light that also fries every bad thing in it. It's going to be really fucking hard to do. You know? But just jumping over that chasm, you know, it's a little bit easier. I love the scales of success in this, which are really enjoyable.
And we should go ahead, and this next page is going to be the weird effective magical and mundane table that we were just referring to. We should go ahead and roll on it.
Yeah, roll it. Roll that beautiful bean footage, man. So weird effects, magical and mundane, calling forth and controlling the chaos of the heart doesn't always go according to plan. When a feat of the heart fails, roll below. What you got there?
I rolled 5. Smoke billows from you until you bathe.
Smoky boy. Smoky boy. You know what? I love a lot of these tables. I'm going to bring up a die too, and I'm just going to throw out a D20. I got a 13. So every piece of glass within 10 feet of you shatters.
Cool. 20 is really cool. I don't know if you read you summon a creature from another realm, describe it, and roll a d6 to determine its qualities, and you can get something that's strong and helpful, or something that can follow any trail. Or something that's frail and requires constant care. It's just like a baby, you know.
I love that. That. You know what would be interesting? Have you I know this is a tangent, but have you read oh my god.
You know,
I think it's called I know. So I'll read to you sometime. I think it's called this Child of Mine. Why am I blanking on what the actual name for it? But it is an adventure from Nate Treem. What child is this? The second I read this, I was like, if someone rolled this, I would immediately just convert to What Child Is This from Nate Treem and literally just give them like a god baby that they now need to take care of and all the things that come from it.
That would be that's a cool adventure right there, you know?
Yeah. But that's what I thought of this, and it's such a good. Again, it's good, and I can't remember what they're called, but when there's a table inside of a table, like you roll a 20 to roll a d6.
Yeah, a nested table.
Give me some of those nests. So this is the magical weird effects table d20. There's a lot of them that are also really good, like a crown of flower sprouts on your head. Like, fuck yeah, why the fuck not? And then another quote here: "I, everlasting gobstopper the orb," says Bulk Hogan. So
Bulk Hogan, really great. Hell yeah,
Bulk Hogan. So making your himbo, another great piece of art here. There is people finding a giant treasure chest. There is a kobold lizard folk person. It's cool. It's a great. I love the art style. I think it's perfect for this game.
Hell yeah.
So stats. Go for it.
There's some interesting stats in this one. So you have 4 main stats, and what's interesting is you roll 2d8 to generate those stats. So that is breast, lips, thighs, and hands. Stats are narratively abstract, inspiring multiple interpretations and applications. The guide can feel free not to specify or not to request a specific stat for a role, and the players can then apply like their stat in a creative way, which I think is a very open-ended way of using stats. I feel like in other games we're so boxed in with how like, oh, it's an intelligence roll, but like to be like, yeah, here's the problem you're gonna have to roll for. It's like, yeah, cool, I'm gonna use my powerful thighs to lift the problem. I just think it's very, very funny and on brand that it's lips, legs, thighs, and hands. So while it's harder to talk your way out of trouble with your thighs and your lips, the more resilient success or failure might be more narratively rewarding. This is the goal of the game. It's like, this is just the narrative is everything. And the mechanics are really just a way to reinforce like this narrative. And
I love breasts, lips, thighs, and hands is such a fantastic set of roles, you know. And if you to get where that came from, we did ask Max in the interview, so check out the previous episode for that. But I love it, and I love that there's intentionally not a brain stat in any of this.
Yeah, no,
which is really fantastic.
None of that.
No, there's not. And I do like this idea that you can use the stat that feels right for it, because on the next page, and we'll go over it in a second, like this is very open-ended, but there is like a bit of structure for people that want. And one thing that I think that this game does a lot too is basically say like, this is the game, but like if you're coming from a trad space, here's how you can kind of like ease into it, which is really, really great writing and intent from Max to put those things in. But it also talks about like, you can sneak with lips, which is really cool. There, the example given is that like use your lips roll to put to carry your knife in your mouth so that you have all of your hands free and stuff to crawl across the ground. That's such a good open-ended smart way to use all the stats,
Very funny.
Really, really cool. And then there's a page here that has the 4 stats with their little pictures. There's got a nice boob on it, the lips, the thighs, and the hands. And it says, for those that are used to more of a scaffolding of support, breasts are courage, emotions, faith, fortitude, and toughness. Lips are persuasion, communication, charisma, and performance. Thighs are brawn, athletic, strength, and combat. And hands are skills, dexterity, use of tools, and grabbing. I love it.
Me too. Yeah, I also like the fact it's like, yeah, they can definitely be those things, but also
they can be a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, just explain to me how you're using it. Yeah,
I like when there are stats given that are more open-ended, that allow for more interpretation. I think Orbital Blues does it really well with the stats that they pick.
Absolutely.
When you first read it, you're just like, what? And then they explain it to you a little bit, and you're like, oh, like I can do so much with this one, Because with breasts, there's a big difference between courage and toughness, but it makes sense. Like I totally get where you're coming from with that. So, yep. Great set of stats. And then 2 of the other important things. And again, I just want to bring up the layout again. I love all of the empty space, but I also love when there's this like side page, like page design aspects to some of the pages.
It also looks very nice if you're on spreads, which is how I look at it. So
I'm a pages guy. Yeah, but the stream also prefers to be able to read it. So
the stream, I know.
Yeah, so the 2 other things we get are heart and scars. So to talk about hearts, in addition to the 4 stats, Himbos have heart. Heart is a measure of general well-being, and a resource to accomplish feats might. We talked about 30. So heart is based on your health, but it's also how to do awesome stuff. So a little bit of both. So if you do too much awesome stuff, you're also at risk for damage because damage goes against your heart. So it's a very your heart. I love how important the heart is in this game. First of all, because it's called heart, but also because it makes sense. Like it's a big deal.
You're a kind-hearted himbo,
Yeah, and that's where everything comes from. Deep inside. Heart can never go above a character's max, which is usually 20. And when a heart reaches 0, they run out of stuff that makes them them. They're not dead, but they're knocked out and can't act until someone heals them because there's no death in this game. You just get knocked out. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Because himbos never die. And a himbo that falls to 0 heart instantly takes a scar and will fully recover back to their max heart when it makes sense. But when you take 4 scars, you have to retire and you likely become a hero. I love that.
Yeah, you retire and become a hero. It's so funny.
Yeah, and that's like, heroes are the problem. Heroes are trying to get you into dangerous situations and solve things with like brains and swords and stuff. Like, why? But also the scars are really fantastic. When you get a 0, you lose a little bit of the magical thing that makes you a himbo. Their pure goodness of heart is corrupted and tainted by harmful vibes and leave a scar. So, yeah, someone in the chat said hero is a fail state. I love that being a hero is a fail state. Scars resonate with harmful vibes.
Pretty good.
Maybe in following, it's fantastic. Maybe in following a greedy or boastful hero, they become more greedy themselves. Maybe a moving speech about survival of the fittest, gross, moves a scar about superiority. And the player characters know best about their characters, so you can really define your scars. But there are some. Why don't you roll me some bad behaviors and weak thoughts that you might get from a scar on,
okay.
What was your himbo name? Throbbing?
It's Throb Harding. So
Throb Harding, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna roll 2d10s. I got a 3 for bad behaviors, so jaded. And then 8 weak thoughts, desire for glory. just tired and jaded, just wants to be great, wants to be beloved by the people. Good old Throb.
I got 10 and 7, which is lazy and eye for an eye. So I rolled me, which is great. But these are great. I love that stoicism is weak thoughts that you can fall into. Lesser evil,
I like that lesser
complex.
evils on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Patriotism.
Yep. Yeah. The weakest thought, patriotism.
Yeah, patriotism, which is just anyway.
Indoctrination.
Ambitious, bitter, boorish.
Hey, did you say the Pledge of Allegiance today?
Every day, all day. You know me. Something that no other fucking country does. But yeah, I love that those are your scars, those are your fail states, is becoming vain and greedy and lustful for power and wanting glory. Like it's such a good like subversion.
This game is about being kind in a genuinely kind way,
and it's crazy that is subverting a trope. Like being nice and good is a subversion, like crazy. So, you also have special abilities. They're unique Himbo powers. Some of them have synergies, so players will have to choose between focusing on a chain of abilities or mixing and matching, both of which are fun. You start with 2 abilities and gain another one each time you level up. For even more chaos, the special abilities is conveniently a D20. So why don't you conveniently roll?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll for Throb. I'm gonna roll his 2 starting abilities. So I got Crafter. On successful hand roll, you can create a common piece of gear from scratch to use when in focus. If you take this ability a second time, the gear you make is extraordinary. Very cool. And then the second one, I rolled a 19. Horny. You grow horns or antlers when you have ample room to charge someone before attacking. Your damage die is increased to the next size. Hell yeah.
Love it.
Horny Craftsman.
The Horny Craftsman. I rolled a 3 and an 18, so I got risky casting. The heart costs of spell casting are halved for you, but your spell checks are rolled with disadvantage. Love that. I love risk reward choices. And then what did I get? 18. Ooh, angel on each shoulder. When you would gain a scar as a result of dropping to 0 heart, one of the angels on your shoulders takes a scar away for you. After you use this ability twice, you lose it. That's nice.
Wow.
Really protects you. I like Dumb as Rocks is an carefree, like redirect, it's so good.
Yeah.
I like Patchwork. I hope
Siphon's a good one. 20.
You can heal the heart damage of another by taking damage yourself, point for point. That is pure himbo right there.
That's pure himbo.
Oh, or therapy. Remove the scar. Like, so good. Yeah, I'm glad that you heard what I was gonna say there. I love that Patchwork is definitely a nod to Patchwork World, which is fucking fantastic, by the way. If you've ever, it's in and of itself is a fantastic fucking game, but if you've ever wanted to get more into the PBTA or PPBTA style mixed success 2d6, it is such a good guide to running it.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought processes in Patchwork World where I'm like, oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's good. Like I said, even just as a guide to running those styles of games well, it is so well done. But in and of itself is a great game.
Ryan, tell us about skills.
Skills. Oh, okay. So skills are talents and tricks a himbo has learned. For each skill that applies to a role, the players raise their target number by 1. During character creation, characters get 4 skills from their life path, because there's life paths in this, or they can create 4 custom skills. I like the options I like the freedom. You can also learn new skills. To learn a new skill, you must succeed at some kind of role for which no current skill applies. If it's something they want to specialize in, that's not a generic action. They can give it a name and make it a skill. Love that.
Love that. Character growth through play. We love that.
Emergent gameplay.
Yeah, shout out Frontier Scum, you know?
Yeah, Frontier Scum, anything NFS has ever done. I mean, like, I love emergent narratives. Do you want to read about being hot?
Yeah, you know, it's undeniable that himbos are sexy. It's not always intentional, but being large and helpful is hot. You should play them as such. And when you do, they get stronger. At the start of each session, each player rolls a d4 to determine their heat. Heat can be exchanged. Yeah, how high you are can be exchanged to add 1 to any target number, thus making it easier. Additionally, if you think another character is doing something, okay, this is my one gripe about this game is that this is ridiculously good looking and not ridiculously hot, because I want it to be ridiculously hot. But whatever. If you think a character is doing something ridiculously good looking, you can gift them a heat to add to their pool. This
is definitely a Zoolander nod, though.
I'm gonna be honest. I've seen Zoolander like twice. Not that I didn't like it. I did think it was very funny. But
I love Zoolander. I feel like Zoolander is like a perfect himbo. Like
Zoolander is actually a really perfect himbo.
But,
something ridiculously good looking. Yeah, okay.
That's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Tell me, Mac. Yes, Mac says yes. This is definitely a Zoolander nod. So I think it's perfect, and we'll leave it there. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. I'm wrong. I do now appreciate it more. 100%
Zoolander. I love Zoolander so much.
Do you just want to heat? Describe how your big bow action has a little extra spice. This is your Baywatch moment. This is your glistening sweat, sunlight rolling off your biceps. This is that moment. Fucking so good. It's just
God, how great would it to be Baywatch? It like the number of things that you could run in this. Like you could easily, like you said Fast and the Furious when we were talking with Max or pre-stream, I don't remember. So fucking perfect, because there's not one single time in 10 movies where they do something smart. They literally are launching.
It's always dumb.
They are now superhero movies. All of them are superheroes that can launch cars out of
It's all about the older ones, you know.
Yeah. Four before, but
running before.
Okay, running this as Baywatch would also absolutely 100% be fucking amazing. Can you imagine like making your lifeguard character and choosing the skills that you get, and like slow motion running is like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, perfect.
So good.
I also like the gifting heat. I like things that cause my player characters to interact in a positive way.
Encourages engagement.
Go off, Throb Harding.
Yeah. You know, the other great thing too about at the table, like one of the because you know we love 5e. The thing that sucks about 5e is
many things.
How easy it is for players to disengage between their turns.
Yeah,
and that sucks. Like, and I enjoy games like this. And one of the things that I do, it's a plus sign. One of the things I do love about 2d6 GM actions, GM turns, is that sometimes, like when a different player fails, you take damage for it. And then things like this also help keep players engaged at the table. Like you listen to what the other players are saying, you can gift them heat, you can do various things to stay engaged at the table. Oh my God. Boom. This is such a great way to have that.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah.
Did we get to the end? Oh, when you gift heat, answer one of the following questions. What are those?
The following questions. What did you see that you really liked? How did your viewing angle highlight the hotness of the moment? Which is the best question. Like, what kind of bodily response are you experiencing? How would you capture this moment via the arts, ballad, painting? So good. It's like, there is like, we talk about how like the tone reinforces the game in like a lot of games. And this is such a peak example of like every step of this we go through has those like, yeah, like how did it make you feel? You know, like what if you were gonna write a song about it? Like how would that song go? It's like, oh, perfect, amazing. It really reinforces like the over the top camp, like hot, like person moments.
Horny. Like what kind of bodily response are you experiencing? And it's literally like, okay, well, I am sweating under this shirt right now.
My heart rate has my heart rate is increased.
I am holding a pillow in front of me strategically. Currently, that is what my body is doing. I love this. It's so good.
Yeah. It's a good fucking time.
It's a good fucking time. I want to play this so bad.
So gear. Ryan, tell us about gear.
Okay, we got 2 types of gear in Himbos: common and extraordinary. I love that. Like, again, simplified. I don't have a massive fucking gear list with like 1,000 different fucking values and shit to it. Common items are everyday objects and tools of the trade, adventure gear, weapons, clothing, stuff like that. Gear has, on the other hand, extraordinary gear has special properties. Maybe they're legendary or bestow great renown, things like that. Common gear adds 1 to the target number of rolls to which they apply, like a grappling hook being used for climbing. Extraordinary gear may add further bonuses or have supplementary effects, more damage, narrative, things like that. I love the D20 roll under, and then adding the more tools you have, the more things you have, just make the roll easier for you. Such a, again, easy, great way to do it.
Yeah. It's like, it's very easy to understand. Nothing in here has been like, what? It's good. It's good.
Common gear, candle, knives, cutlery, trap, anything you would have in a fucking adventuring pack, right? And the extraordinary is magic wand, scrolls, plate mail, rings of power, not magic items, but anything that it can go above and beyond just like basic shit, which is really fantastic. And again, super streamlined, really, really easy. I really enjoy that. And then you got coin. Coin is just coin. That's all it is. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it coin. Yep. Rewards for good deeds, stuff stolen. Common items generally cost 1 coin. If this seems too expensive for an item, consider selling it in a bundle or having 1 coin be worth the service over time. Extraordinary items can cost 10, 100, or even 1,000 coin. A standard quest might reward 10 coin. An extraordinary hat of umbrella-ification, it keeps you supernaturally dry, worth 20 coin. So that's the general, like at the end of adventure, 10 coin and an extraordinary item, which is a really, again, easy, streamlined way to view everything. With I don't like, if you can make a book as big as your book on magic items that have various different costs and things like that, like not even magical, even mundane shit, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it. So I like this. And then we got to getting bigger. You might be big, but you could always be bigger. Characters level up when they've played. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Characters level up when they've played a number of sessions equal to their level. I love the cone, the tree, the things come from that. Level 1 characters levels up after 1 session. Level 4 levels up after 4 sessions.
Easy. Just amazing. Like so simple, and it works so well. And you're like, yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I always did with 5e. Once you get the grasp, I always speed leveled. Like after level 1, or after first session, you're level 2. After the next session, you're level 3, or 2 sessions, you're level 3, and then you just like go from there based on it. But like, I love that concept, and it makes sense that like the bigger and better you get, the more it's going to take for you to get bigger and better. It's again streamlined, really enjoyable. So let's roll up. What's it, Throb Harding?
Yeah, so, let's roll Throb Harding.
Roll 3d20 in reference with tables to determine your traits. All right. Okay. And then, so I'll read this through this once and then we'll do it. So then you roll 2d8 for each of your 4 stats. You assign 4 extra stat. You pick a life path. You calculate your woe. You have heart that starts at 20. You roll d4 for heat, d6 for starting coin. Create and purchase gear. Pick 2 specialty abilities and give your bow a name. So we already did that. So 3d20 in reference to the tables below. It's big, your personality, and your physique. So what's big on you?
13.
That is your arms. You got big, beefy arms.
Typical hunter, you know? Okay, then personality's 10. Creative.
You're creative. Look at you. And then what is that? What is that physique
16
like?
is the physique ample. Ooh, the big
Oh,
boy.
you're big and ample. Yeah. Um, you can have a
Hey man,
big
listen, I don't go lift weights in the
presence.
gym to get smaller. Let me tell you, you know.
No. You can have a big presence, a big reputation, a big butt, big feet, big mouth. I mean, you could roll a 21 if you know what I'm
20,
saying.
20 is big weapon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all know. But yeah,
Oh my
personality,
god.
earnest, merciful, things like that. Physique, soft, curvy, colossal, wayfish, chunky. You can be a little himbo. And then roll 2d8 for each of your stats. So roll 8d8.
8. Fuck me, man. That's a lot of d8s. I'm just gonna do one stat.
Or just 2d8 4 times, yeah.
Yeah. So first one is gonna be 8.
8 breast.
8 breasts. 10.
To those juicy lips.
Typical. 10 again.
Thick thighs.
Powerful thighs. I am ample. And then 10 again.
Damn, son. That is quite the bow you got there.
Yeah. Listen, my bow is out of this world. Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll go to life path. This is one of the. I mean, we're about done. I mean, with this because we don't read adventures.
We don't read adventures, and we don't usually do the GM part either. But like, well, the life paths are pretty cool. We should go through life paths. Honestly,
yeah, 100%. So yeah, go for it. Do you want me to do life pass? Or you want to do life pass?
Well, I already did special ability for Throb earlier, so I think he's pretty much made. You know.
Okay. Well, so to go over life pass for those out there, life pass give you details about your himbo's backstory, be it simple beginnings or deeds of legend. Your character history is split into 4 segments, each requiring a roll. These segments can span months or years, but they're all pivotal moments. And each section of path comes with the stat boost and skill you learn. So feel free to mix and match. There's no need to stay on one path for all 4 segments, but if you want more cohesion on your backstory, keep it together. So to fill in the segment of your history, pick from Simple Beginnings or Mythical Mainsprings. Choose or roll a d4 for your subpath, and then a d6 for the specific result. So you already picked that, but it says Simple Beginnings. You come from simple, sturdy stock. Your folk work hard, speak plainly, and have uncomplicated wants. They found a trade, spent some time, and there you go. So you roll a d4, you get sweat plus heat, rural plus rustic, full of flavor, or a work of art for your simple beginnings. And then it says or mythical mainsprings. The other option, if you don't want simple beginnings, is you come from tales of legend, myth, monster, and great battles. You may have done terrible things or met terrible beasts. Your story is complex and anything but typical. So this to me is kind of the people that like did the hero thing already and they decided that they just want to be big old himbos now versus starting out as like a simple himbo. And this is violent pasts, heroic folk, legendary people, and hunting monsters. So which did you go with? Did you go with mythical mainsprings or did you go with simple beginnings?
I think we're going with simple for Throb. Throb's from a simple beginning, you know. So he's from.
Are you gonna roll on this, or did you already pick this
rustic.
Out? Ooh, you went rural and rustic. So sweat plus heat is.
Let me tell you, if it's a number that's not a die, I'm never picking. Die is picking.
So sweat plus heat is forged in the fire. So it's a lot of stuff about like the forge or learning a task and things, as we said. But you picked rural and rustic, and it says, "Who doesn't love a country bumpkin?" So that's what you picked, and then you rolled a d6 for your subpath.
Yeah, I got a 2. When you aren't tending the field, you're tending to the field hands. You worked on a farm until whoever was in charge realized your plowing and hoeing happened in a different kind of bed.
I love these so
your
much.
Your skill is bedside manager, and I get to add 1 to lips, huh?
You got real juice. You got ample lips. That's where it's at.
The sexy. I'm the sexy farmhand. Let me tell you.
You are the sexy farmhand. Yeah, as you wish. Full of flavor.
Honestly, for this game, I would want to put a table together to play this game specifically. Like, I like my normal table, but I would want to create one specifically for this. Like, I need a very varied group of people to joke about being hot and sexy with, you know?
Who's running it?
I don't know who would be running it. I guess probably me. So.
Let's play this shit. Listen, little preview of I'm just saying side quests. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but we do even have a logo already. So I feel like this is going to be right there at the top of the list for what's coming. So we'll see what happens. So Full of Flavor is about cooking and food and things like that. Love that. And a work of art is literally it's not just your body that's inspiringly beautiful. Wait, it's probably mostly your body. Love that. So this is about dancing, being a model, things like that. Love that. So the other thing is the mythical mainsprings. So these are ones that I felt are really interesting and I like them. It is the part that I feel is like the most I don't want to say off theme, but it's like it's definitely different. This definitely comes from like a whole different place. As I said, like this is, you've already done shit. It's more complex. It's more off than the rest of it. And they already said that is the intent of it. But it's interesting. So Violent Past, you weren't always soft and caring. Each selection from this life path comes with one scar. And I love that you start with the scar because you did the thing already and then you became the himbo. So these are things like you once had an army with and led into countless battles, or sometimes the ends justify the means and sometimes the means are violent, so this is definitely a little far out there.
This is the darker take on
this is Edgelord Himbos. Yeah. So heroic folks, you were hired to hunt a demon that had been terrorizing the locals. Like basically you were a hero before. So Violent Past sounds like you were a villain in the past. Heroic folks, you were a hero in the past. Legendary people, you've got friends in high places like the clouds. So these are literally like the angry tree spirits ask for help. Who says no to the trees? You met a god, a little one. The circumstances surrounding your birth were suspicious. So these are people that might come from, kind of divine, like this is your Herculeses. And then you have hunting monsters. So these are your monster hunters or your monstrousness. So really fun, interesting sub backgrounds. I really, really enjoy those. And then there's another quote here. This seems like an extremely solvable problem. We'll kick our way out, says Splint, says Hunter every time. And that's the game. That's it. That's the whole game. And you have Throb Harding.
Throb Harding. So we're Throb Hard on. We'll call it that. That's a little too on the nose though.
I like Harding. I think Harding is really good. Hard on is really on the nose.
It's too on the nose. Yeah, Throb Harding. My first instincts were right. Also, like shout out my ability to come up with a dumb name that works on the fly.
Yeah. What were your two special abilities?
I was crafting and horny. So
that's right. Crafting makes sense for on this farm, and horny obviously makes sense.
Also makes sense for how my life on the farm. So
planting and hoeing. So this is chapter 3. This is the guide tips. Another piece of art here. Quickly run through a little bit of this. Running a game of Himbos should be a weird and wild time. Unlike some other fantasy RPGs, Himbos doesn't ask the players to solve problems with logic and reason. It excludes mental stats or intellectually based mechanical solutions. The game asks players to create different ways to frame and respond to conflicts. If you're not used to running games with these philosophies, be kind to yourself and consider this as a chance for everyone to practice. I really love that.
No, you too.
The world can be logical even if the characters aren't. Characters being at odds doesn't mean the players are, and death is not the ultimate threat, which we talked about. For games that track wounds or hit points, death is the ultimate consequence, but there's no death in these rules, and the stakes of your conflict should reflect that. Honor, beliefs, relationships, these are the compelling stakes that your game should threaten and explore. It goes into a whole section about crafting adventures, which is really enjoyable because I think there is a slight difference for the way that you would create this, since again, I think a lot of people are going to be, there's a slight shift you have to do to make those threats not necessarily, death and things like that.
Yeah.
Baddies and NPCs are unknown heroic status. I mean, there's a lot of really good tools here. And I love this 0 to crossed out hero, 0 to himbo, a few small quests. So we don't read the adventures, but I love that there are a number of like small little encounters, tips for it. Really, really well done. The 12th annual fresh meat games. Love that. Again, really well written adventures for each of those. And then we get to the character sheet. I love stylized character sheets. I think this is such a perfect stylized character sheet.
Oh yeah.
in practicality sense, I would feel bad drawing over this like barbed wire tattoo. So I want maybe just a tiny bit more space in some places to write stuff in. But how it's basically, for those that aren't looking, it's a giant back tattoo with like little cheek action popping off the top. And it's just so perfectly themed. And for those that got the book, and I talked about this on a random post before. First of all, there's also this pamphlet adventure, right? But in the back is literally like a library card slot holder thing. And it comes with like 4 or 5 little character sheets that you can just like slot right into the little library card situation.
Very cool.
I love that. The thought that went into this game is so thoughtful. I mean, that's dumb, but yeah, like you understand what I'm saying. Like there was
definitely a lot of thought and care put into this game, and it's a game about being dumb and beautiful that's written really intelligently.
Yeah, and beautifully. Like it's really well done. I love the back, the pitch. Himbos Myth and Mettle is a high fantasy, high camp role playing game. You know, the rules center around a simple roll under mechanic and prioritize narrative flair and cinematic descriptions. Himbos is inspired by many classic fantasy properties, but leans towards a more garish, salacious, and queer, gay or odd, pick your fighter, style of play. It's also a little horny. Yeah.
I picked both.
Yeah. It's definitely a little bit horny. Heat is so good. And that's the motherfucking game. I love the game as a game. I want to play a big dumb horny character that is always going to try to do good things, but mechanically I really enjoy this.
It's a good game. Like it is a good game. It's good at what it does, definitely, but also it's just a good game.
That's the thing. Like it's just good. Like it just really is. Like it's just really, really good.
So let's say you wanted to go out and get Himbos right now. Let's say you want a physical copy. Well, they have them on Ratty and Cantati.
Love Ratty and Cantati.
A fantastic shop. They're $30 right now.
Don't forget they're Canadian.
Oh yeah, well it's 30 Canadian bucks right now, which is what 20.
Well, the good thing about Canada is it is North America. And the cost savings you get in USD versus CAD, there is obviously an increased shipping because it's coming from another country. It pretty much evens out for the most part, which is cool. But I bought a lot of stuff from Ratty and Cantati. Amazing shop, really amazing owner. Definitely worth grabbing from them just because to support a great shop too. But yeah, do you have the physical of this?
I don't have it, actually. I was just buying it right now.
Oh, you can also get them from Max. So also just do that. I think this we can review this. This is not a zine. It's a 60-page book. Do you want to do a quick 60 review pages,
right? So it's over like zines and around 30 something. So
gosh, where I need to.
We're not prepared at all for it.
No,
there we go. We are prepared.
I had it, but you know what I completely forgot to do was
I'm Kirby.
You were Kirby earlier, and I was like, I knew I was gonna forget to do this. So this is Hunter, not Kirby, although Kirby is amazing.
Wow, Kirby comes on for one episode, take over for me, and I'm just I guess.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck you, Hunter. Anyway, so this is a game. So real quick rundown again for those that don't know this, we do review games. We are going to be sitting down and talking about zines because the way we set this grading system up, we decided it does not work for zines. It wouldn't do it justice. We're going to create a different one we're going to be talking about this week, and then we're going to do an episode where we go back and re-review all of the zines we've already done. I think there's probably 18 of them. We're going to chew through that real quick. Probably just have 3 scores, but this is 5 scores. We get art and style, layout and function, rule set and crunch, originality and value. There are 10 points available for each. 5 is not bad. It is literally just bang average, which is, again, not bad. It's just average. And you'll notice a lot of our scores are 35 and up. Because honestly, we don't really review bad games, and I don't want to sit here and bash a game on the internet.
We pick the games that we talk about, and so it's like none of them really suck because we're picking, maybe
good
we'll
games,
pick up an old like early 2000s, late 90s tabletop game sometime, just so we can shit on it, so we can create a lower.
Yeah, we'll make a 25 or something like that. But anyway, so art and style is about the art.
Yeah, we'll do GURPS.
Yeah. Fuck no. Maybe they'll actually read it. But art and style is about the art in the game and the style of the art and the style choices within the game itself. Not about the layout, or the style of the layout, but not like the tools, right? So layout and function specifically is about the readability. It's about usability tools, navigation, ribbons, bookmarks, all those things that we talked about. Specifically, it's about the layout and the function of it as opposed to the style of it. Rule set and crunch is if it is a new system, is it good? If it is an adapted system, how well is it adapted? And crunch is if we feel that the game has the amount of rules necessary to play the game that we're reading. Originality is a very broad open stat or open score that can be any of those things or all of those things or more. Is it a new idea? If it's an old idea, is it done in a different way? Those kind of things. And value is more than just the cost. It's the bang for the buck. Like, do you get more than just the book? Are there third-party licenses? Is there third-party material? Are there character sheets? Are there maps? Like, are there adventures? It's the value they get for buying the game and what you get from more of it. So starting with art and style. So there's not a ton of art in the book. The cover obviously is beautiful. Outside of that, we talked about, getting into layout a little bit. We talked about how clean and big the pages are. So a lot of times what we find is like the higher the art score, the lower the layout score is going to be, and the lower the layout score, the higher the eye score can be, because it's kind of hard to do a little bit of both. And I feel like this is one of those ones where there's less art, but that contributes to how good the layout is. Yeah,
the layout's really nice. So I mean, art. I think the art is that's in here is good. I enjoy the pieces. There's not a ton of it for sure, but the art is good.
Yeah, there's one, two.
You can go several pages without there being any.
Oh, there can go a lot of pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, I think there's maybe five art pieces throughout the entire book, plus the cover. So as far as like quantity over quality, again, each one of these is taken individually, and that's why you look at the total score. So just because something might have a lower score based on some things, it is not because it's bad. It is just, again, comparatively, objectively, mixed with subjectivity.
So this one's going to take a hit because of the amount of art, not the quality of the art. Right?
Exactly. That's why it is art and style. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And I still think this is a strong 6.
Yeah, I think easy.
It's above average. So
it is I think the quality is above average. I think so. When we also look at things in relation to other games. So 10s are basically fucking art books. We're talking about Merkborg, which is considered art punk. We're talking about something like Warpland, where like every single page, like even Cyber Metal, where like every fucking page is like completely different. Yeah. So I think art and style is 6. Yeah, I think 6 or 7. I think the cover is really, really fantastic and beautiful, and I think the style is really ingrained well.
I think you had a couple more pieces, and it would bump it up to a 7 for me. But I think this is a strong 6.
I think just because of the amount that I agree with you. Although the style is fantastic, it does take a hit just on the amount. And again, that's not bad. It's because when we go to layout, that is where what we love about it really shines. So yeah. So layout and function. So we've already talked about it. Hyperlinks, fuck yeah. Bookmarks, fuck yeah.
Bookmarks.
The readability is
nice
so
and easy to look at.
Oh my god! I the pages, everything we said about it. It's not black on white. It's black on a nice parchment that's nice on your eyes. The purple pops are out. Why am I blanking? Why am I blanking on what these things are called? The you know what I'm talking about?
The paneling.
This situation on the side here. Those are perfectly used. The ribbon in the actual book is a huge function tool. Really, really, really love seeing that. And I love the character sheet holder in the back. I think this all contributes to function, which is really, really fantastic. So nothing will ever beat Troika, so it's not a 10. It doesn't have color-coded sections or any of those kind of tools. The PDF doesn't have the the links that go back to the previous chapter and things like that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think this is an easy 8.
Yeah, I think this, for me, I think it's like a strong 7, light 8. I'm fine with an 8 on this. I think the ribbon, the character sheet holder in the back, I'm like, the character sheet holder in the back. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but not only that, even just the layout of itself, like I think this is so perfectly well done in, as we said before, how to use art minimally in a book and still make a gorgeous book, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's so well done. So to me, this is like an easy 8, you know. And again, that's not. It's just because there are things that go above and fucking beyond in other things. So, rule set and crunch. I mean, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really, really, really good. There's as many rules as I want there to be. The rules are all very good. They all lend to a style of gameplay that this is trying to achieve. There are interesting rules. The window of error, the kind of like gradient success that you find in maybe a 2d6 system. I love that. The moments of being a hot himbo and that, like, you know, being hot being like a way to like make it easier for you to succeed. Your heat, you know. There's just so many things in here that make sense and are like unique rules that work really well with this. And that you could you could rename the rule, you know, and take it out. This could be, you can make this an SRD, like, honestly, and just be like, these are the mechanics, and like you can label them however you want. Like it's a really solid D20 roll under, but not just D20 roll under, like whatever Troika would call theirs, like where you add stats together to create that target, roll under target instead of just roll under stat. Yeah, this works incredibly well.
Yeah. I, like you said, I mean, it basically is an SRD. Really, if you just change like the names of the stats themselves, like it's written in a very clear, concise way. Yeah. But two of the things that I love the most about it, one, I've said multiple times, it is all the rules that I want, and but are written in such a way that I can engage with them as much as I want without feeling like I'm breaking the thing. Not in like a 5e, like kind of just like build your own fucking game kind of way, but in like a, they're everything I need and get out of my way when I don't need them. And second, we say this over and over and over and over again. The game's rules really define how a player is going to engage with the game. The concept that system doesn't matter is something that I couldn't disagree with less. I think I
completely disagree with it. Which is funny, because I think early on at some point I was like, no, I agree, system doesn't really matter. And now I'm like, no, it totally does.
Well, like, I think it's the framing. I think a lot of it comes down to framing, because like when you're writing an adventure, when you're writing an adventure, does system always matter? No, like you can write amazing, systemless adventure that you can put in anything you want. But at the end of the day, you know, as we said, when you're playing a game, the game's rules are going to influence the way that players interact with the game. So when you do something like 5e, where they have a whole page in the beginning that says, make it what you want, do what you want, but then let me give you 150 pages on how if you do anything not exactly how this is, you're basically breaking the game and have to homebrew your entire fucking thing, right? That does not do this. This is done in a perfect way. Every aspect of the rule set reinforces the intent that Max had when writing the game and doing it. Like as you said, heat is such a perfect fucking example. Heart is such a perfect fucking example. Right?
Heart's a good example. Heart is a really good example. You know, especially like pushing it, rolling under heart, do something above and beyond. Very, very cool. Also, the stats. The stats are like, they are stats, right? But like, you don't have to use them how they're defined. Like, you know, like be creative.
Yeah. And then so written for this game specifically, super well done. And then, as you said, as an SRD, just fucking good. This is between this and Slipgate, which we did last week. Right. Like there are two variations on D20 systems that I would actually fucking play. And I love this one. I love the I love it all. It's just so good. This is how a D20 system should be written. This is how a D20 system should be run. Like, to me, I don't know how you feel about this, but to me, this is a 9.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm like a strong 8, light 9. You know, I'm always indecisively in between. But yeah, I think a 9 is a good one for this. I really do enjoy this. And it doesn't overreach. I'll use all these rules playing this game. Like there's no rules that are getting left out. So
that's exactly what it doesn't overreach at all. Like it's everything that you need, and even things that you didn't know you needed, but now that you see it, you go, yes, I will use this now.
Totally. Like I'm gonna take stuff out of this and use it in other games. So
like easily, like every D20 system I use from now on is gonna have woe. Like because it's something that we already did, but this is written out in a structured way that makes it so easy to use.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and 9's the highest we're ever really going to give for a rule set. I can't imagine a rule set where we both just go, fuck, this is a hard 10, because I feel like we're so similar, but there's a slight difference that I feel like rules wise we're always. I would love to find the game that we both go, fuck yeah, hard 10. But for me, this is a 9 objectively for the rules, for the crunch, for everything for it. And then originality. When's the last time you got to play?
It's an incredibly original take on the concept. Like, we talk about it, like we talked about with Max, we talked about before, like genre emulation, right? And there's like doing it there. Hold on, I said something really clever once. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, someone quote that. Hey, I said something really clever once.
One time, I had one statement where it was like the difference between like paying homage to a genre and like being a derivative of the genre or being like inspired by it. And this is a great example of something that's paying homage to a genre, to a type of game, to like Max is in the chat and said, hold on, I said something really clever once as a whole Himbos adventure.
It is.
But yeah, like I think that there is a style and type of game that we like, all of us who have fun tables have played before, but this like really strikes at the heart of it. And it's like it's more raunchy, and I mean that in a good way, and it's more queer, and it's more
camp
odd, and like it's really good.
I think camp is a perfect way to describe everything you just said.
Totally.
Camp, yeah. Like it's, and not only that, like as a game, as you said, it's campy fun, right? But you get to play a character that's generally the sidekick, and literally the fail state is becoming the main
hero.
character.
Yeah, the protagonist,
which is fucking fantastic. But then originality, like we said, is across like all of these things, right?
Right.
And then when we look at even the rules and the way that they're written, because again, it's a D20 system, but it does have that target number. It does have like you roll 2d8 for stats, which is really interesting and different, but it makes sense in the system. Options for dice chains, like as far as like a rule system, I like we just talked about it, but that there's a lot of levels of originality in that are fantastic, especially in things like heat and heart, which are so important. And again, I haven't played a game. I mean, and I know they exist. Like I've seen games that are kind of like whatever, but like I haven't played it. I haven't seen it. It's great. Where do you sit on originality for this? I mean, because it's not just even in like there's
I'm with originality where I was at rule set and crunch. I am right between 8 and 9.
Yeah, I feel like so we did a year of this already, then we did a review, and I feel like coming into the new year we should be maybe a little bit harsher on things, but also a little bit more rewarding on things. Like
it's getting a 1.
Right? But like art and style is a good example of that. Like, I love the art, but there's like 5 pieces in the book, so it has to take a ding. But for originality, I mean, Kirby and I gave 10 to Slipgate last time for all of the reasons I'm saying on this. I feel like
you gave it 10 without me there. That's fucked up. So
I know, but it's something we've already given 10s. I would never have given the first 10 without you.
I really appreciate that genuinely. Yeah. So,
but we've given like 2 or 3 10s out before for originality. I mean, I'm also again at a 9 for this. I think between the rules and the intent and like everything like that, like I haven't played a game like this before. This is a really good execution.
This is a really good intent versus execution, honestly. Like, this game sets out to do what it does, and it does it.
It does it so well. Like, it does it so well. And then value. How much did you say this was?
It's $30 on Ratty. Let's see. I had the itch page pulled up for so long.
Max, is there a third party situation?
Where's the other place? It's $10 on itch.
for a 60-page PDF that's a solid deal. There's
Yes.
no license in here, but we know from Max specifically that they're very anti-copyright. So I can only imagine that literally means do the fuck ever you want, right? God, I love the purple. I love the purple in this so much.
It's all Creative Commons.
Yeah, it's all Creative Commons. Does on Ratty, does the pamphlet adventure come with it?
Oh, I don't have any idea. Let's see. Ooh, I clicked off of Ratty because I am a real small brained guy. You know, hold on,
Just
get back
right click, reopen last tab, and then you're good. And then not only that, with the book. So yeah. So Max said,
I think it does come with it does. I think so. It's in the picture.
And then it comes with the character sheets in the back and everything. So
value
wise,
it's $30 for a pamphlet adventure, character sheets, and the book. That's pretty good.
That's a value. And again, on USD, you know, but then mixed like shipping and stuff like that. But also, I mean, the other thing is Max is also Canadian, so like it's still coming from Canada no matter what. You know, the shipping, but just taking it objectively, and then, you know, you could be in Canada in this game too. It's a solid value. Creative Commons, pamphlet adventure, character sheets, 60-page, beautifully done book with a ribbon. I mean, I think that's a solid value. Like, I'm at least a 7 on this. Like, at least a 7.
Yeah,
on this.
I'm 7-8 on this one.
Yeah, I think. Oh, not to try to sway you, there is another free pamphlet on itch to play the game. And, well, not only that, on top of that, how many adventures were actually in the book? We're talking about what, there was at least 2 or 3 in the book?
There are a handful of the small adventures. Yeah. So strong 8. We're the strong 8.
You're talking about like 5. I'm a strong 7 and then 8 on this, but I'm going 8 on this because I think the things that like also add to value are things like that we've given points for before, or like online character generators and things like that. Things that this doesn't necessarily need, but other things have. So you know, objectively. But you know, we're talking about like, you know, we look something like Merkborg where there's the Scumbirther, there's whole adventure, like the DNGN, like the dungeon one, there's like all sorts of things like that. So that would get to 10. I think 8 is really solid for this in the fact that you get all the adventures, you get the character sheets, it's extremely reasonably priced. And the ribbon, man. I think 8's a solid.
Yeah, you do love a ribbon.
I do. Do you not? Do you not?
I do, but you love a ribbon, bro.
I do love a ribbon. And multiples are even better. Give me 3 ribbons in a game. And, you know, but like also for the GM, the ribbons are so nice. You know what I mean? Because you can just like flip. It's all about the navigation. It's all about the navigation tools. You know, if I'm gonna play the game, my brain needs help. You know.
Yeah. So we're at a 40.
You know, I have to add it up anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why you don't trust me. 31.
It's not that I don't trust you. It's that once I start, I have to finish. So 40. So interesting because Slipgate last week, which is also another of my like most recent like favorite games, got a 40, but the stats on that one are very different, right? The art and style on that one got a high score and the value got a low score because it didn't have all of the accessories and things that come with this game.
Right.
I mean, the other thing too is it's also a hardback it's a hardback book with a ribbon and the pamphlet for $30. I mean, the value on this is crazy. And again, Creative Commons and all the adventures that come with it. I think that is I think that feels exactly where it should be for this. And I don't think it should go much higher because as soon as you start adding more art to it, I think you start to lose a little bit of the layout stuff for it.
I agree.
Yeah. I think 40 sounds fantastic. So this is Himbos of Myth and Metal from Maxwell Lander. If you're listening to this episode, please... Yeah. Listen to the previous episode where we did get to sit down and have a wonderful chat with Max. Fantastic human being with a very interesting life and a lot of skills. Definitely want to follow them and follow the stuff that they're putting out between hand baskets and everything else that's coming down. This is really fantastic. I'm so glad we got to do this one. I'm so glad we got to talk to Max about this one. I've wanted to do this one for a while. I'm so glad you was excited about it as I was.
I'm glad. Thanks for, because originally we talked about this in the weekend. I couldn't do it. I was like, no, wait, hold on. I really want to be there for this one. So thanks for working around my bad schedule as always.
This is a great fucking game. It's also a little horny. It's great. So that's our episode for the week. I have no idea. I literally have did we even pick a game for next week?
Hold on. I'm pulling up the. Hold on.
I'm
hold
pretty
on.
positive we haven't. I don't think we have any plans. Yeah.
I'm out of town next weekend. So.
Oh fuck, maybe we'll have another guest. Maybe Kirby will be back. I can just like get that fucking Hunter name right out of there and Kirby's already ready to go. So I have no idea what I'm gonna do next week, so we're either gonna take a break or I'll find a guest host or something like that. And that'll be that. So that is our episode. Again, Max, you're a wonderful human being. Thanks so much for coming on. Hunter, you beautiful himbo, you. I will see you, I guess, in 2 weeks. And we'll talk to all of you later. Definitely check us out on all our socials. And guess what? For all you listening, because I know you've been waiting on the edge of your seats for months, I finally updated the Instagram, so I can say with pride now, you can find us on Instagram at the.weekly.scroll. Definitely check out the Read the Fucking Manual podcast from Max and Aaron King. You can find us also on weekly_scroll on Twitter. That's where you're going to get most of our information. And please go sub to us on The Adventure Archive. We've passed, I think we're close to like 720 subs now, which is really fantastic to see. Our goal is to try to hit 1,000 sometime this year, which would be cool. And then we'll just take it from there. That is us. This is The Weekly Scroll. This is The Adventure Archive. That was Max. That is Hunter. I am Ryan. You guys all have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.